more of what
job, and that's great. And I'm delighted to hear that that's what you're thinking. That would be obviously a lot on top of seminary. The fact that you have no savings and the 11,000 in credit card debt with only 35,000 in retirement, and that's going to be costly money. So you're not going to have the 10% penalty to pull. You're in the 22% bracket. That 35,000, you're going to have $7,700 of that if you pull the whole thing out, just in federal taxes that you would owe. So, I'd much rather you leave that there. You quickly try to find another job, live modestly, so we can focus on getting $1,000 in savings. And once you have 1,000 in savings, let's take every available dollar and go after those credit cards. In fact, I'd reach out to our friends at ChristianCreditCounselors.org. Let's let them help you get those interest rates down. And now, by you getting another job, living modestly, really just, living on the bare minimum to the best that you can, hopefully, a year from now, maybe a couple of years from now, all of a sudden the credit card debt is gone. We get that emergency fund up to 3 to 6 months expenses. And now, we're in a much different position. The only other thing that, just causes me some concern is just that there's not anything else to speak of there in the way of assets. And so if you do get to a point where you're unable to work, we don't really have anything to fall back on. Now, at some point, I'm assuming you'll have Social Security, and, you could live on that. And so I certainly understand that. But I think at least at this point, I don't feel great about you adding another $20,000 in expenses on top of the fact that the job situation's questionable right now. We've got this, pretty significant credit card debt, which is probably at 22% interest, and then no savings to speak of without a whole lot in the way of retirement assets. So I think if it were me, again, you need to pray through this and make this call. I'd say, all right, I'm going to wait probably a couple of years on even considering seminary. Let me get the credit cards into a credit counseling program. Let me get that next job. And let me focus on trying to slowly build up that emergency fund while I'm paying off the credit cards. And then once all that's taken care of, now we're starting to look to what God has next for you. Does that make sense, though?
It does. Yes. Okay. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome, Allie. Listen, I'm excited about what God has for you in this next season. I think we just got to, follow the steps and just be really thoughtful and prayerful about considering kind of the timing of all of this as you're working hard to try to get a more solid financial foundation under you. God is your provider. I'm confident He will, but I think we need to use the finances as part of evidence of God's leading, and I don't think He would lead you to do anything that's going to require you to take on more debt, certainly not impoverish yourself as a result of it. So thanks for calling today. If we can assist you further, don't hesitate to reach out. Let's go to Illinois. Hi, Rose. Go ahead.
Thanks for taking my call. I've got a Medicaid question. So I've got a family member that has a fatal disease, and she's, at this point, needs more care than what we can give her. She's living with my sister-in-law right now. She has no assets, and we were thinking maybe we could put her or get her into Medicaid if possible. Who would be responsible for that bill?
Well, what would generally happen is, if you went to a Medicaid-approved facility, you would not be responsible for it. So unless you were to, take on financial responsibility, if Medicaid is not approved, the family is generally not legally responsible for the bill unless they've signed something agreeing to be. So here's how it would work. Typically, medical debt stays with the individual, not the family. Spouses in some states may be responsible under spousal responsibility laws, but if no assets exist, the provider would then, write off the debt. They would try to recoup from the estate of the person, Medicaid would, if they pay out, but if there's no assets there, then there's nothing for them to collect on. But, I would think that the key here for you all as you pursue some of these Medicaid-approved facilities would be just be careful that you don't, take financial responsibility unless you intend to take on that liability. So you just really want to be careful about those forms that you're signing when you move her into that facility. Does that make sense?
It does. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks for your help.
Yep, you're very welcome. Thanks, Rose. We're going to take a break. Back with much more after this. Stay with us.
This weekend on The Stand Radio, Dr. Baruch Korman talks about ways to study and understand the Bible.
I think what people oftentimes don't know, and many pastors have not been trained, but there's methods, there's laws for interpreting the Bible. So we do not make such errors and teach heresy instead of teaching truth.
The Stand Radio, Saturdays at 4 and Sundays at 8 p.m. Central on American Family Radio.
You're young. You don't go to the doctor that often, yet health insurance is still so expensive. If your health insurance costs too much, maybe you should switch to an affordable alternative. Take charge of your healthcare with Christian Healthcare Ministries. CHM offers programs starting under $100 per month. Check off the affordable box on your list and get back to what you really love, running your business or caring for your kids, and have peace of mind while doing it. Visit chministries.org/faithfi to enroll today.
In a recent survey of 1,200 left-of-center American adults, 55% responded that assassinating Donald Trump could be justified. We're swimming in shark-infested cultural waters. Some are suffering from Christianophobia. Jesus said, if they persecuted me, they'll also persecute you. Please give today to help AFA keep equipping you and others to stand for Christ. Help us shine his light into our dark culture. Visit afa.net/warrior.
We're grateful for support from Eventide Investments on the Faith and Finance program. Eventide's approach to values-based investing is grounded in the belief that humankind was created in the image of God, with intrinsic dignity, value, and worth. Eventide calls this investing that makes the world rejoice. More information is available at eventideinvestments.com. That's eventideinvestments.com.
Hi, I'm Riley Wellman, Director of the AFA Foundation. One of my main things that I like to do is visit with our supporters, whether it's traveling or just on the phone. We just love to meet with people, and if they have a complicated situation, we would love to sit down and talk with them. You can visit us at afafoundation.net or give us a call at 800-326-4543, extension 345.
Faith and Finance is grateful for support from Sound Mind Investing. If you have money in an investment account, you know sometimes the stock market can seem like a roller coaster. But it's possible to enjoy both profit and peace of mind as a do-it-yourself investor, no matter what's happening in the market. A short video webinar about that is available at soundmindinvesting.org. Financial wisdom for living well. soundmindinvesting.org.
Great to have you with us today on a Friday morning. I'm Rob West. This is Faith and Finance on American Family Radio. Hey, let me just remind you, Faith and Finance is listener supported. That just simply means that we rely on your generous tax-deductible contributions to fund our work here to help you be a wise and faithful steward of God's money. If you'd consider a gift of any amount, and we mean that, whether it's $4, $40, $400, or $4,000, whatever you might be able to share with the ministry, we'd certainly be grateful. It's quick and easy to do that online. You just head to faithfi.com. That's faithfi.com, and just click the give button. And if this ministry has been an encouragement to you, maybe you've found something helpful or valuable on this program and you'd like to make a gift, we'd certainly appreciate it. Again, faithfi.com, just click give. Before we head to the phones, a quick email. These come to us at askrob@faithfi.com. Here's what David wrote. I contributed to an IRA thinking it was a smart move, but now in retirement, I'm facing a higher tax rate than when I earned the income. Are there any strategies to help mitigate the tax impact for those of us in this situation? You know, unfortunately, David, you're right. Many retirees contributed to IRAs, traditional that is, expecting lower tax rates later, only to find that they end up in higher brackets due to required minimum distributions, maybe income they weren't counting on, among other things that could drive that. So here are a few ways to your question that can mitigate that increased tax liability. Number one, and this is one of my favorites, you probably heard me talk about it, but if not, this could be a game changer. It's the qualified charitable distribution, the QCD. If you're 70 and a half or older, it will go directly from your IRA to a charity. It doesn't count as income and can satisfy your required minimum. So that would allow you to get the money out, satisfy the minimum, and not have anything added to your taxable income. You could do some incremental Roth conversion. So you'll pay the tax now, but growth and withdrawals from the Roth are, of course, tax-free. You could delay Social Security. If you wait till age 70, it could boost your benefit and give you more time to do Roth conversions. And then I would just say plan ahead to make strategic withdrawals. So pulling from your IRA before RMDs start can help to spread out taxes over time and keep you in a lower bracket. I would also say just this underscores the opportunity to work with an advisor. We recommend connecting with a certified Kingdom advisor to help you do tax planning that minimizes what you have to give to Uncle Sam. You always obviously can look at other ways to reduce taxable income that would be more typical, where you might increase your charitable contributions. Those kinds of things can be very helpful as well. So hopefully that gives you a few things to think about. This comes from Cecilia. She writes, when helping a first-time home buyer child, is it more cost-effective to co-sign on the mortgage or take out a home equity loan and pay off the mortgage directly, allowing the child to repay the parents? The goal is to save closing costs and fees. Let me just say, Cecilia, it's generous to want to help your child buy a home, but when it comes to co-signing, the Bible is crystal clear. Don't do it. Proverbs 22, 26, and 27 says, do not be one who strikes or shakes hands in pledge or puts up security for debts. If you lack the means to pay, your very bed will be snatched from under you. It doesn't mince any words there. Co-signing ties your credit and financial future to someone else's behavior. Even if your child is responsible, life happens. There's job losses and illness and divorce. And if they can't pay, the lender will come after you. And this could not only jeopardize your financial stability, it could also jeopardize your relationship, depending upon kind of how this ends up playing out. So here's what I would do. I would just say, if you have a desire to help the kids, the best way I've found to do this is to let them qualify for the mortgage they can qualify for, and one that fits their budget. And to do that in a way that allows them to be responsible, to exercise some discipline, but then perhaps you come in after the fact and prepay the mortgage. And help them pay it down quicker. Maybe even say, listen, we'll match every dollar you send beyond the scheduled mortgage payment. Now, you may say, well, that's just going to end up with a higher mortgage and a higher payment, and that's unnecessary. But if they can get into the house they really can afford on the front end, then they shouldn't have any problem paying that mortgage payment. And by you paying it down, reducing that principal, you're going to save them a bundle in interest and ensure that they continue to pay at that level, just to pay that off even quicker. Now, the other way would be you make the gift that becomes the down payment. That's the other way to do it, but I would avoid that co-signing. Hope that helps, Cecilia. This one's from Cindy. She writes, I've been hearing more about a deed fraud. What steps can homeowners take to protect themselves against it? You can check, Cindy, with your county deeds or record office to see if they offer an alert option if anyone tries to do anything with your deed. Many counties do now offer that service in response to all the talk about deed fraud. Most allow you to check online yourself to see the status of the deed. So since you can do these things on your own, we don't recommend that you pay a monthly fee for someone to do it for you. A lot of times this is referred to as, title lock insurance. The problem is the word insurance is a misnomer. See, if somebody fraudulently transfers your deed into their name, and would do that for the purpose of taking a loan against it that you're and then not repaying it, and then ultimately you figure it out when the home is tried, they attempt to foreclose it. Nobody can protect you against that. It was fraudulent to begin with. Really what they're trying to do is just alert you, to any kind of fraudulent transfer. So in that case, I would just say, let's not add unnecessary expense. Now, if you can afford it and it gives you added peace of mind, go for it. But for the typical person, I would say let's not add this kind of lock insurance or a title lock subscription. Let's first check with our county deeds and records office and see if they will put an electronic alert on there for you so that you can essentially do this yourself. I hope that helps. Hey, I'm glad we were able to tackle some questions for you today. Those come in by email. And if you want to send one along, you can send it to askrob@faithfi.com. A quick break and back with much more after this. Stay with us. Faith and Finance is underwritten by Certified Kingdom Advisor Kevin Bruce with Aligned Investment Research. Helping families across Collin County honor God by stewarding wealth with wisdom and purpose. Because true peace of mind comes from aligning wealth with God's design. Learn more at align7.com or call 972-972-8465. 972-972-8465. Align is a registered investment advisor.
Hey, moms and dads, are you at your wits' end? Hi, this is Mark Gregston with Parenting Today's Teens. I'm so grateful for the partnership we have with American Family Radio. We share a common goal to bring hope to hurting families through the life-changing medium of radio. Be sure to listen Saturday afternoons at 4:30 Central on American Family Radio. Find help and hope for your family with Parenting Today's Teens.
Are you a financial professional looking to grow your practice while offering advice that aligns with your Christian values? By becoming a certified Kingdom Advisor, you'll gain the biblical wisdom and professional credibility to serve clients who are seeking faith-based financial guidance. Each year, more than 75,000 people search for a certified Kingdom Advisor. Join our community and share your expertise with clients looking for someone who shares their faith and values. Start your journey today by going to kingdomadvisors.com/get-certified. Are you looking for a better way to align your faith with your finances? The FaithFi app is here to help. With tools to track your spending, plan your giving, and grow in wise stewardship, you'll learn to see money not as your security, but as a tool for God's glory. Rooted in biblical principles, FaithFi equips you to trust God more fully and steward His resources faithfully. Download the FaithFi app today from your app store or visit faithfi.com and click app.
AFA Action takes attacks on the family seriously. The enemies of the family constantly employ new tactics to try to sneak past our radar. They know if we stand together, their evil plans will fail. Your gift to AFA Action allows us to stay vigilant against their onslaught. And if you give this month, you'll receive access to the Cultural Institute video When Your Faith is Illegal by Frank Harbor on AFA Stream as our thanks. You can make your gift today at afaaction.net.
Are you feeling overwhelmed by credit card debt? As followers of Christ, we are called to be good stewards of what God has given us. That's why our trusted partner, Christian Credit Counselors, is here to help. Their debt management program can help you pay off your debt faster while honoring your commitments in full. Take the first step toward financial freedom today. Visit ChristianCreditCounselors.org or call 800-557-1985.
This is American Family Radio, a listener-supported ministry of the American Family Association.
Great to have you with us today on Faith and Finance on American Family Radio. I'm Rob West. Hey, don't call in today. Our team is away from the studio, but we did line up some questions that we will get to, and I'm confident you will enjoy them. Osceola, Indiana is where Dick's located. Go ahead, sir.
Well, good afternoon, Rob. Glad to talk with you. I have been blessed over the years through the financial counseling, and that has helped us to be very diligent with our finances and in tithing and giving extra gifts. We're both retired now, and we needed to take some money out to do some renovations on our house, and it was $50,000. And I'm just wondering, this has already been tithed on, but there's the increase that came for having it in a 401k and now an IRA. How would you recommend we determine how much to tithe from that amount of money?
Yeah, very good. Well, Dick, thanks for your testimony to the important work. Delighted that we've been able to be a small part of your journey and giving testimony to the Lord's faithfulness. And I'm so thrilled to hear that you've been a regular giver. So this money that we're talking about here, what did you say the amount was?
It's $50,000.
Okay, and you pulled it from a retirement account?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so the money that you put into the retirement account, whether that was by way of a salary deferral or an IRA contribution, if you were tithing on the gross, you tithed already on the principal amount that you put in. Now what you're acknowledging is that some portion of what you're pulling out is, a part of that would be the gain inside that account. Is that correct?
Yes, that's
okay.
Correct.
Yeah, great. So what is the total of your contributions? Do you have a record of that?
I have that. I don't have that handy, but we give 10% to our church, and then there are a number of ministries that we have given to for years that is beyond the 10%.
Okay. Yeah, and I was actually, and that's helpful. I was actually referring to the contributions into that retirement account. Do you know what the total amount of what you put in is? So then we could determine how much beyond that would be equal to the gain or the increase that you had in that account?
No, I don't have that figure, but it would have been, when we tithed on the gross amount that we made as we worked, and then from that we had given to our 401ks, and then on retirement we converted those to IRAs.
Gotcha. Yeah. So that might be difficult to back into. I mean, ideally, what we'd be able to do is say, okay, and I'm just going to use round numbers here. Let's say you put in, we'll just use something simple, 100,000. I'm sure it's a lot more than that over the years, and now it's 150. Then the total gain on that would be 50,000, and we could say, okay, what portion of that? Well, it happens to be 50% of what you have now is resulting from the gain, and so we can apply that percentage to every withdrawal and say, okay, half of everything I take out was what I put in, and half is considered the increase, and therefore I'm going to tithe on half of every check I take. If you can't do that, you could just use, that as a ballpark number to say, okay, I'm going to assign some percentage that represents the increased portion of every check, and then we're going to give a tithe on that, recognizing you're giving above and beyond that with other giving, but at least for every check you pull out, that would give you some, percentage that you can apply to say, this is, representative of the increase, and we're going to take 1/10 of that, and we're going to give it back, to our local church as unto the Lord. Does that make sense?
Yes, and I appreciate that. That's, I think, good, wise counsel. So thank you, Rob.
Absolutely, Dick. We appreciate anything. We'd love to chat with you. Let's go to Grand Rapids. Hi, Valerie. Go ahead.
Hello. I am DPOA for my aunt, who was a very generous giver all of her life. And although when her dementia went in, she was maybe giving to some things that weren't wise, but she was able to kind of, could see what she gave to and did some giving early on, not as much as 50% she was giving away sometimes. But now she really can't. She still has the heart for missions, but it just tells me, you do what's right. I can't think about that. But now she's in an assisted living, and she's needed increasing care, so it's fairly expensive, and it's going up $300 a month, starting this year. So she has 6 to 7 years left of investment if she stays at this level, but that's barring any medical things or other things that could come up too. So I'm trying to figure out what's the responsible thing. Do I still give in faith, or would that come back and I'd have to justify that, or would,
Yes.
She goes on Medicaid, they go after the people she gave to, or what?
Yes. Well, I can appreciate that, because I love the fact that you want to honor her desires and generous heart as you steward on behalf of her, because she's unable to do so cognitively, these resources. And yet, I would just say, as her guardian, Valerie, your first obligation is to care for your aunt. And so I would say, in your desire to make sure that her needs are met and that she can live comfortably, that would be my primary objective. And the extent to which there's something left over, obviously all that money can be given away to charity. If she had far more than you believe she would need, then I think honoring, continuing to give to missions and honoring that desire that was so clear just in the way she lived her life would be great. But it just doesn't sound like that's the situation that we're in. And she is ultimately the steward, but she's unable to make those decisions. The Lord doesn't need her money, and she clearly was very generous as an act of worship to the Lord when she was able to do so. But I think at this point, if it were me, my primary objective, at least with these resources, not talking about your own, with these resources, would be to ensure that everything that the Lord has entrusted to her is available for her care, and that would be my primary focus.
Okay. I have another question. I mean, it was good when she finally did. I mean, she was very private about stuff. She just started letting me understand her finances, but then the people she invested with, we were able to track things and get things on him. But right now, we've got another man who had started a ministry in a nursing home. We've kind of taken over when he couldn't, but we've kind of come to find out how messed up his finances are, and don't even know how to go about, what kind of person would be the best to even sort this out, or whether we're better just letting it take its flow, and when it comes to a crisis, somebody else will do something.
Yeah, I think it'd be good to get somebody in there to just try to help take a look at that. There is a resource that we offer that are called Certified Christian Financial Counselors, and they specialize in budgets and spending plans and debt plans and helping people just kind of get things in proper order with regard to managing finances. So this is not a financial advisor or wealth manager, really more focused on the mechanics of personal finance. So head to our website, faithfi.com, click Find a Professional. If you choose budgeting or debt, you'll get a list of certified Christian financial counselors. Anyone can help. This is Faith and Finance on American Family Radio, biblical wisdom for your financial decisions. I hope you don't go anywhere, because we've got a lot more straight ahead. Stick around.
Faith and Finance is underwritten by certified Kingdom advisor Kevin Bruce with Align Investment Research, helping families across Collin County honor God by stewarding wealth with wisdom and purpose. Because true peace of mind comes from aligning wealth with God's design. Learn more at align7.com or call 972-972-8465. 972-972-8465. Align is a registered investment advisor.
Radio, Dr. Baruch Corman talks about ways to study and understand the Bible.
I think what people oftentimes don't know, and many pastors have not been trained, but there's methods, there's laws for interpreting the Bible. So we do not make such errors and teach heresy instead of teaching truth.
The Stand Radio, Saturdays at 4 and Sundays at 8 p.m. Central on American Family Radio.
FaithFi is grateful for support from One Ascent. One Ascent believes that your values inspire why you invest and how they can inspire how you invest. One Ascent's goal is to provide solutions designed for every need and invest in businesses that bless the people and places God has made. They want to help investors do well by doing good, to explore a new way of investing that aligns with your values. More information is available at oneascent.com and by clicking Analyze My Investments.
Jesus said, where your treasure is, there your heart will be also. Today, put your heart into something that makes an eternal impact. Heart for Lebanon is sharing the gospel and protecting girls from early marriage, child labor, and violence. Your gift of $114 helps reach 3 at-risk girls with hope and a brighter future. Give generously. Text FAITH to 98656. That's FAITH to 98656. Or visit faithfi.com/Lebanon.
We work, we earn, we save. But is that all there is? The book of Ecclesiastes gives us an entirely new perspective on money that impacts our day-to-day lives. Faith-Fi's study, Wisdom Over Wealth, unpacks life-changing biblical truths about wealth, work, and contentment. This resource will help you grow in how you handle wealth by deepening your trust in God. Request your copy of the Wisdom Over Wealth study with your gift of $35 or more by going to faithfi.com/give.
So thankful to have you with us today on Faith and Finance as we provide a hopeful, encouraging, biblical message of financial decision making. You know, it's all about looking through the lens of Scripture, holding what God has entrusted to us loosely so we can give generously. I would submit that's the primary purpose for which God has entrusted resources to us, clearly to provide for ourselves and our families. But I think so often we get stuck in an endless list of needs and wants, never getting beyond that to the opportunity to serve those on our path and be generous, supporting the work of the Lord. Think about that today as you consider your role as a steward in managing God's money. Coral Springs, Florida is where we're headed next. Laverne, thanks for calling. Go ahead.
Thanks for taking my call, Rob. Okay, sure. So my husband and I, we sold our primary home last year, and we're going to invest it in multifamily. That didn't work out. We're still going to do that. However, we have another building that I'm running my business out of. We have a mortgage balance of $180. The interest rate is 3.75. So we're thinking of paying off that $180 by doubling the mortgage over 2.5 years versus 24 years. Is that a good idea?
Yeah, so let's talk through this. I mean, I never would be opposed to you paying off a mortgage early. It is a low interest rate, and so I'd want to understand just the opportunity cost of what you're giving up by putting that money into this illiquid asset of a home. But let me just make sure I understood what you said. Did you say you already did sell your primary residence?
Yes, we did.
Okay, so what is this property here with the 3.25%?
Okay, so it's an investment property. We're temporarily staying there. We were renting for a year, which was $30,000 for that year. So we decided to pretend we're still paying that rent, put it on the mortgage, and pay it off in 2.5 years versus 24 years to save that interest. Yeah. Okay. And so where would that money come from? So you, in 2.5 years, you're going to pay off $180,000. Is that right? That's how I worked it out. At the mortgage we're paying now, plus adding the rent that we were paying, which was about $3,000. So we would add that extra $3,000 to the mortgage to be mortgage free in 2.5 years.
So that's about about $7,000 a month you're going to send to cover the interest?
A little over $6,000 a month, correct?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. And what other assets do you have right now?
Well, we have the money from the primary. It's about $200,000.
Okay.
And we have about $16,000 in business credit card debt and about $3,000 in personal, which get paid off every month.
Okay. Yeah. But you don't have any retirement accounts or anything like that?
No.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I would say is, there's not a whole lot of diversification there. I mean, you would have pretty much all of your assets tied up in real estate, which there's nothing wrong with real estate. It's just that, you don't have anything working in a tax-deferred environment, and you are all in one asset class, that asset class being real estate. Now, that real estate is going to appreciate regardless of whether you pay off the mortgage. So really, all you're doing is you're saving the 3.75%. And the reality is, if you were to take that same, I don't know what is it, $3,000 a month, $36,000 a year, and put it away elsewhere, you could it wouldn't be that difficult for you to outpace that 3.75%. And at the same time, you'd be further diversifying yourself among asset classes. And in addition to real estate, you'd have some in stocks and bonds, which is more liquid. Because if you ever need to get to it, you could, sell the stocks or bonds and have the money. Whereas, as you know, it's more illiquid. With real estate, you've got transaction costs and it takes time to sell. So unless you all just are, obviously you like real estate a lot, but unless you're just opposed to investing in the market, and therefore you'd rather just keep everything in your real estate, I would say, especially given that you're planning to buy a multifamily property here with the proceeds of the primary residence, I would probably just ride that mortgage out at a low rate and get that money invested so that you've got something that can be growing for your future alongside the appreciation of that real estate. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
And you're welcome. I try to get as much of that going into in a retirement account as possible if you do that. So I'd probably use Roth IRAs. Are you all over the age of 50?
Yes, we both are.
Okay, yeah. So you would be able to put in $8,000 each for the year, so $16,000 for 2025, and then you could turn around and do that again, perhaps even a little bit more for 2026. The additional amount beyond those IRAs, you'd have to put in a taxable account, but you still could, get that money working for you and make it and invest it. So hopefully that gives you some things to think about, Laverne. Sounds like you and your husband are doing a great job managing all this. We appreciate your call today. Tampa Bay is where we're headed next. Christina, go right ahead.
Hello, how are you, Rob? Thanks for taking my call.
Absolutely, thank you.
So my question today is, I'm probably on the opposite spectrum from a lot of people that call you. I'm 47. I just started my career after being a stay-at-home mom. That was my number one job, and I'm grateful to God that I was able to do that. Got my dream job, went back to school, got my bachelor's degree. I'm making okay money. They offer, at my job, they offer a 403B for retirement. I don't have any retirement, never have had retirement. Because I didn't have a career, didn't have a job. My question is this. They will start matching 3%. They have two options. One is like a pre-tax and the other one is a Roth. I think that's post-tax. They will match up to 3% after 1 year. Should I start putting money into that right now, or should I wait until they start matching? I'm not sure what to do, and I'm not exactly sure how much I should start putting in that account. We're still trying to get out of debt and stuff and catch up.
Okay, yeah, very good. Well, first of all, you did have a job and an amazing one at that, so I'm delighted to hear that. But now that you're transitioning to this next chapter and you've got a different type of work that you're excited about, I'm thrilled for you in that as well. And yeah, this is a great opportunity for you to start putting some money away. I'm not terribly concerned about the fact that there's not matching for the first year, especially with it sounds like your company gives you the option of a Roth 403B. That's great. That means you can put in the after-tax money, and then it'll grow tax-free, and then you'll get that bonus, that kicker in 12 months where they're going to start to match it. But I think the key for you right now is to get something going into retirement savings, and the Roth 401k is a great option, and you have a lot more room to put in more money, than you do with the IRA. And